If you have a desire and you believe that desire, then it is. Because there's no separation in your vibration. You want it, you expect it, you're offering one signal, and in very short order, you're going to allow it into your experience. The things that you call beliefs, even the things that you call core beliefs, are only vibrations that you've been offering for a long enough period of time that you've attracted a certain amount of evidence around them that has caused you now to form a very strong expectation. And the reason that they feel like core beliefs is because they remain stable in your experience. In other words, you've believed it, life shows itself to you in that way, so you come to just believe it. We want to shake things up a little bit by explaining to you that just because you see a lot of evidence of something, and just because it is considered to be truth, because it's documented and evidenced by scientific surveys or by historical documents, or even by large numbers of people who answer the polls that say, yes, this is the way that it is, we want you to come around to understanding that just because something is true doesn't mean that it deserves your attention. We want you to set a new criteria for what you give your attention to. And we would like that new criteria to be the same criteria that your source uses, which is, how does it feel when you give your attention to it? A belief. A belief. I believe, you say. I believe that there are people on the planet who can do anything. I believe that there are people who have cancer. Maybe both true statements within your belief system. Yep. But when you add the criteria of how it feels when you activate the belief, now you have a new reason to focus differently, don't you? And this is the way you get to utterly core beliefs. In other words, the corest of the core beliefs is that you are a magnificent and worthy being and that life should be good for you. That is a core belief. And when you deviate from it, you feel the separation in your vibration. You don't feel so good, you see. A core belief is that life is supposed to be good for you. A core belief is that you are a creator. As you and almost everybody else you know responds to the environment around you rather than to the way you're resonating within, what happens is you begin to beat the drum of thoughts that are not serving you very well, but because everybody else is beating the drum, and you sometimes consciously don't want to be the odd one out, so you do it. But humans have accepted so many beliefs that are detrimental to their experience. We don't care at all what your beliefs are. We're not interested. We have not been interested ever in changing one person's belief about anything. What we are interested in doing is helping you find alignment with what your life has caused you to carve out for you, because we know that this environment is large enough that everyone on the planet can satisfy their personal individual desires without getting in anybody else's way, because there is not a finite amount of resources that is available that's being divvied up. When you become abundant, you don't deprive anyone of abundance. When you become healthy, you don't deprive anyone of health. The resources are expanding in proportion to the desire that is happening because of the contrast that you are living, you see. You are where you are, and that's what a belief is. You are where you are. Now what? And so with the navigational system in your vehicles, the system automatically acknowledges where you are. You program in where you're going. The system knows where you are. But then the route immediately begins to be calculated from where you are to where you want to go. And that's the way your guidance system works too. You spend no time beating the drum of where you are, because where you are keeps changing. It's an interesting thing with those guidance systems. It knows where you want to be, and it knows where you are, and it keeps knowing where you are. No matter where you are, it keeps knowing where you are, because where you are is where you are. Yeah. And what happens with so many humans, because they are aware that they are not yet where they want to be, and they are so aware of where they are in relationship to where they want to be, that then they spend lifetimes trying to explain how they got to where they are, which just makes them stay where they are longer and longer and longer and longer and longer. Where you are is where you are is where you are is where you are. So what? You're always somewhere on your way, and when you get your eye on where you're going, then the current beliefs don't matter so much. If you could get the desire factor really reverberating, and the where I am factor not reverberating so much, you'd move faster to where you want to be. But we think it's this need to justify. We really believe that what happens with so many people, the reason that more people do not fixate on where they're going and envision where they're going, but instead continue to beat the drum of where they are, is because they feel like they have to justify to the universe how bad it is where they are, thinking that if they can plead a needy enough case, that the universe will feel sorry for them and yield to them what they are wanting. And we say, the universe doesn't respond like that. We encourage you to amplify where you are going. Someone who trusts lets things happen. And there's such a subtle, you use that word, and it's right, there's a subtle edge in the difference of that, because when you want things and you're just going to apply yourself diligently, we watch you ripping through these processes. You're just eating this up. You're going to get yourself tuned up as fast as you can. But there's something counterproductive in that. And what it is what your wonderful question came up with toward the end of your comments, which is you want to understand how to trust. And here's the way we would go about that. Feel the difference between someone who is, this is not for you, it's an example for you, of someone who is seeking a healing, which is absolutely upstream, and allowing wellness, which is downstream. Can you feel the difference? Right. So many people are looking for the results, and they are so pointed upstream. They're so intense about it and so determined about it. And we want to say, you don't have to work hard. You've already done your work by living life which caused you to ask for it. And Source has already done the work by aligning things up, and law of attraction is the real workhorse behind all of it. Your work, if there is any, is to trust the stream. To trust that if you were to let go of those oars, that you've done enough in the living of life to put it in vibrational escrow, and the Source is reliable enough to bring you in this massively moving stream toward what you want. So it's not necessarily, not even a trusting in your ability. It's a bigger trust than that. It's a trust or faith in the stream. And what we have given you as a result of what you've been reading, we've given you a framework in which you now understand the current of the universe, you see. And so that's what we want you to practice your trust in. We want you to say to yourself, well, the stream is flowing, and I can paddle upstream if I want to, and I can tell I am because I don't feel so good. This tension tells me that I'm doing that. And if you will just work a little bit on the sensation of letting go of the oars. As some of the earlier processes that we offered, one was a particularly popular process called pivoting. And what it says is, whenever I know what I don't want, I also know more clearly what I do want. But we see people working so hard to find that positive thought. And law of attraction just won't give you a really positive thought when you've been feeling really negative. But it will give you a slightly less negative thought. And so, by understanding that the stream will carry you and getting the image in your mind that your real work, when you feel that tension, is to just drop the oars. In other words, it's not about making it happen. It's not about being different than you are. It's really about, and here it is, making peace with where you are. A lot of times our physical friends feel funny about that when they say, but I'm clearly not where I want to be. And if I make peace with where I am, isn't that my saying to the universe, let me stay here? And we say, no. When you make peace with where you are, you stop resistance, and then you can really go to where you want to be, you see. So, in very short terms, we would say to you, if we were to give you an unfair label that accurately depicts the energy of your being, you try too hard. You work too hard at things. And it comes from wanting to please others. It comes from having a lot of responsibilities. It comes from a lot of people counting on you. It comes from all of those things. But it doesn't serve you. And it doesn't serve anyone. It doesn't serve anyone. So just let your mantra be, I'm doing fine. Everything's all right. Words, in the same way that you would soothe anyone, soothe yourself. It's all right. I'm doing just fine. No big thing here. Jerry and Esther have a dear friend who says, there's nothing serious going on here. No matter what, there's nothing serious going on here. Just anything that diffuses. And in a little while, you will feel that visceral shifting. You will feel, even though you don't see solution, you don't see immediate result, you don't have an instant answer to a question, you'll feel the turning in the stream. And when that is what you're reaching for, things become so easy.